Welcome to the Positive Growth Doctor podcast for women. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Wilson. I created the Positive Growth Doctor after years of dealing with societal expectations, self-doubt, and perfectionism. I leveraged my 30 years of experience as a positive psychologist to address limiting beliefs and gain clarity to build confidence and navigate obstacles to achieve a healthier well-being. I knew that pain all too well. So I empower women to achieve confidence and live a positive-centered life. Subscribe to the podcast and check out the earlier episodes so you don't miss a thing. And let's get to it. Welcome to the Positive Growth Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christina Wilson. So what is it like for you when you get stuck in the comparison trap? You know what I'm talking about. When you start scrolling through social media and you're seeing all the perfection that exists, right? Because a lot of that isn't real. Or attending the reunion where you're seeing people in ages and, thinking about where they are right now versus where you are in your life, or what they have, and maybe what you don't have, or having that family member that pulls the comparison load on your behalf, right? You're like, thanks, I hadn't thought of that. We all have at least one, right? You're not alone, and it doesn't feel good. I talk about this often because it is so common. It's harmful to women. In fact, it steals our peace, and it creeps up on every single one of us because it's a part of our human experience in life. And however, the good news is that it only sticks around as long as you let it or allow it. So how long it sticks around is entirely up to you. Now, as a neurodivergent, I have always felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. And you don't have to be neurodivergent to feel this way. Our society encourages comparison, unfortunately. However, God does not encourage that. In fact, He does just the opposite. He made each and every one of us unique, beautiful. God never, ever makes mistakes. He has a plan for each of us, and we are wonderfully made. I love the song verse that we are fearfully and wonderfully made in His image. In fact, there's no one like you. And Romans 12:2 goes a bit deeper and says, do not be conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is. In this episode, expect to uncover how God uniquely designed each of us and how women can break free from the comparison through spiritual and scriptural insight and practical. You will learn how to transform your mind and embrace your individuality, leading to a more and joyful faith. To find the full transcript of this episode on your favorite podcast and share the podcast with other women to help them grow on their journey in life and to love on other people. So important. But don't stop there with your family and your friends. Extend your reach to so many more women out there just by simply leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you. So when I say comparison trap, I'm referring to this nasty habit of measuring our lives, achievement, and our worth against others. And it leads to inadequacy and dissatisfaction action. Nothing good comes from it. Now, comparison can lead to negative emotions such as jealousy and low self esteem, anxiety, and it hinders our personal growth and our spiritual well being. In essence, this impacts our spiritual growth, which is important. We are meant to continually grow in this life. And when I was young, I struggled with this. The magazine, they portrayed women in ways that weren't realistic. And they also portrayed worldly ideal rather than God's plan for us. And they planted seeds of doubt and of a life so far from God. And this to attainable body image and so much more. And not only for me, but my friends. And for years, I struggled to obtain perfection because it didn't. And this continued on through college. In high school, I was underweight because I developed an eating disorder. So I was 84 pounds at one point. And some of that was due to anxiety and bullying as well, which further increased comparison. Now, I unintentionally gained weight at the start of college because I had Cushing. And I had this tumor on my adrenal gland thing. It had a massive impact on me. It secreted large amounts of cortisol. So I was fighting to lose weight to support my addiction with perfection while I was gaining it from something completely out of my control. I had a choice at that point. I could be angry with God or I could be grateful. And I chose to ditch the anger and embrace gratitude. It was one of those things where I had to go through the pain for me to see what was really important in life. That was hard. Thankful for it. And God has a very distinct plan for all of us. We engage in comparison, we quickly get off the path of where He's guiding us, and it's perfect. And we take control over it. And that's so what do we do when we start to veer off? And how do we renew our mind and transform our self view through? I'm going to give you a handful of things, okay? And a bonus. So the first is to align your God's truth. So this goes back to what I was saying about Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of mind and discern. So looking back, I was engulfed literally by the world, by magazines and music, movies, talking points that preach their truth of the world that was pulling me away God's truth, which should be the only truth, right? And I remember a good friend of mine, and we're still good friends, we still talk every day. I just love her dearly. Her mom was, wonder what we were doing in her room. And my friend would always just have her knife in, so her mom couldn't get in at the door. And we would have our little earphone and we would be listening to things we weren't supposed to. And she'd be knocking on the door. What are you girls up to in there? Are you listening to Def Leppard? Well, we were. And I mean, you're really young. You're like, and you know what? When I look back on that, she was not wrong. She was right. And she went about it wrong because People, young girls that age are going to do this. So how we present that is really important. But she was so right about that. That did not bring us closer to God. In fact, it took us down a terrible rabbit hole of stuff that we didn't quite understand yet. So, you know, aligning our thoughts with God's truth, critical. The second is to pray consistently and making it a regular habit. It makes such a difference because He wants to hear from you. And all He wants is a relationship with you, created you. And my dad here on earth was an addict. And as a result, he was not the dad that I needed him to be. I always, say, you know what, that's okay because I have the best father a girl ever asked. And I know unconditionally, and he gets me. He loves you and gets you. And never, ever leaves. So I start my day in prayer with my son, and much of that is about gratitude. And I the day prayer with my husband, focusing just in depth, praying. But then also I pray off and on by myself throughout the day, when the Spirit hits me. And when someone asks for prayer, I did what a lot of people do. I used to do that. I would, oh yeah, I could add them to the prayer list. But that wasn't a good thing necessarily. Um, I have learned that I need to drop what I'm doing and pray for them right away, and then continue praying for them, add them to my list for evening prayer as well. Now, the third is to read consistently. So what does that mean exactly? I spend time in His Word, okay? Not only does it enrich my relationship with Him, but it serves as a guide for how we should live and honor Him. So life is very different now that I started doing this. I'm consistent with it. Feel His arms around, um, His presence, and His Word so far from the world's expectation. And it's much less comparison and doubt are not glorified. Reading and listening to His Word, a perfect start. So reflecting on it helps aid you in hearing from Him, okay? And His plan for you. The second part of that is having a relationship with. So the closer you are to Him, the clearer His plan to you. And number 4 is to find a community of like-minded women. This does not mean that you avoid everyone else, right? That doesn't believe like you or non-believers. That means at all. God made us for community, whether we like it or not. We might be introverts, but He did. And He knows what He's doing. And that is why I created Empowering Women Facebook group. And I leave that link the transcript as well. To give you a nice start, right? Okay, number 5, practice gratitude daily. This changes everything. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God in Christ Jesus. For 1 Thessalonians 18. The difficulties in life are growth opportunities if we let them be. And we continue to suffer by ruminating on them, or we can view them as growth opportunities and shift our mind. I see growth mindset as than just a viewpoint or how we see the world. It is Christ-centered or a godly mindset. And He wants us to grow. And the best way to do that is staying in His Word and reflecting on it and staying focused on His plan and His love. I have a bonus tip for you today, and that is to hold yourself accountable, okay? In creating a mindset shift by adding these things to your calendar. I know, a little like too much, but it's not that hard. You can do it quickly and set aside time to engage in community building, checking in on others, celebrating one another's wins, attending Bible studies, engaging in prayer and daily devotional. We think of all these, right? We get excited and I'm going to do that, planned in our head, but life happens and we forget, especially how short our attention span today. We're looking at 8 seconds to focus on something and that's it. So we get super distracted, and your calendar serves as a reminder. You can even have a little bell that goes off to apply these tips. Because when you take action, it moves the needle and bring joy to your life and peace. Okay? So let's meet up again next week for another episode. Have a blessed and wonderful week.
Thanks for listening to the Positive Growth Doctor podcast. Be sure to leave a review and tell other women about the podcast. Let's support one another. Find the full transcript of this episode on your favorite podcast app. Watch the podcast on the Positive Growth Doctor YouTube channel and learn more at thepositivegrowthdoctor.com. And be assured, you are not alone on your journey